Coach, what was your biggest takeaway from last week?
I like the grit of how we played. You know, we had a chance of going into a hostile environment, and kind of everything that we wanted out of that weekend, we kind of got out of it. And you know, the clutch performances when we were down, the two base hits, and then a home run. I really liked the way we competed. And you know, we talked about everyone accepting their roles and doing what they need to. I thought it was a team victory this weekend. And we played a lot of kids, and they all were ready to contribute. You know, Izzy comes in for Charlize and goes 2 for 3 and almost hits a home run. If she gets a little stronger, she might hit one at the top of the fence. So yeah, it was a lot of good things. And you know, like I always say, you know, that weekend we passed the test with flying colors. Now we got another weekend to get ready for.
Moving Malia down in the lineup, is that to strengthen the lineup top from bottom?
No, it was just because she was struggling more than anything. Just wasn't seeing the ball well, and you know, sometimes you run into certain pitchers that you just don't see, and I just wanted to take a little pressure off her, and it lasted a game, and then brought her back up to the 4th spot. But yeah, sometimes you kind of look at numbers, and you look at, you know, I kind of look at what they do in each position of the lineup, and that sometimes gives you a fairly good indication, not a complete one. But when your offense is struggling, sometimes you have to go to something like that and just play the numbers. And so at that point, I decided to do that, and it worked out.
What have you thought about the way Mariah has transitioned to the team so far?
Well, I think we've talked about that a bunch this year. I think she's made a great transition. In fact, a seamless one, and I think a lot of it was because she's played with a lot of these kids, and I'm just really happy where she's at right now. She's, you know, feeling good about herself. I think very confident. Has done everything that we've asked her to do, and we're just glad she's here at Arizona.
For Malia to, you know, be dropped in the order and then go through that slump and then come back and have the performance that she had, what does that say about her?
Well, Malia she is a smart kid. She's steady. She doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. You know, she sticks with the process. She's not a kid that kind of looks too far down the road or worries about what happens in the past. I think she's really good at being where her feet are every day, and I think sometimes that pays dividends, because one of the things in this game is you have to have short-term memory, you know, and you know, it's a game of averages, and so if it's a game of averages, then you're going to have those moments where things aren't quite going your way. But you hope as a team that there's always someone there to pick it up. You know, the thing you don't want is when everyone has those moments, then that's when those games look tough on us. But I thought overall we swung the bats fairly well. Still giving away a lot of at-bats, I think, just being impatient and not understanding that you got three strikes, so you got three chances. I mean, she's got to beat you 3 times. You know, you have to beat her once, and I think sometimes we just kind of rush into that, and we start swinging at balls that I think if we had a little more patience, we'd get a better pitch to drive. But that's kind of part of the process, and something we'll continue to work on. I thought defensively we played fairly well until the last day we had a couple errors, kind of unusual. But the one area that I really found that we really needed to do some work on this week is just communicating when there's a runner at second base and there's a base hit, whether we are really able to throw a runner out or we need to keep the batter runner off second base, because that could become a merry-go-round. And I just think that's something right now that we're going to try to stress this week, is making better decisions and kind of understanding the game that, you know, if you keep them at first, they got to have probably 2 hits to score them. But the one thing you don't want to do is throw at the plate, and that ties the game. But you also put the winning run at second base. You know, we got to be a little smarter than that. And so that's a matter of just communication behind the dish. You know, our outfielders having a better idea, and I mean, ultimately, it's just pure communication. We need to talk in those situations, and we need people to understand that the big picture when you're playing in that situation. But I thought we handled the moments really well. You know, the crowd didn't bother us. I didn't really think the crowd would bother us. I mean, we play in front of good crowds here. I think our fans are more irate than Alabama's fans are. They're loud and courteous, shall I say? You know, our fans, I mean, you know, the opposing coach goes out to the circle to talk to a pitcher, and they start getting on him. It's like, come on. So it was a good trip, and you know, anytime you can take a trip like that and kind of get the job done and win 5 games is always a good feeling. So I'm hoping that they kind of understand now where they're at. Number one, they can come back. You know, they were challenged and they met the challenge. So they're throwing punches, and then if they get knocked down, they're getting up, making an adjustment, and continue to throw punches. So I like it. I like where we're at.